What's going on, guys? Mitch here, and today we're taking a look at this. This is the Custom Knife Factory Eagle Rock. This guy just came out, I want to say, I don't know, maybe within the last couple weeks. And, you know, I just wanted to have a quick, normal fireside conversation like I've kind of have been having with you guys on the knife, what I think of the knife, what it kind of compares with. And whether or not, if you want to throw down your hard-earned shackles on this guy. You know, it's a lot of dough, and, you know, it's a little more exclusive, I'd say, than some of the other knives out there. But it's cool. It's definitely cool. So, if you want to skip ahead, I can tell you right now, I like it. And after seeing a few reviews on some other guys that weren't overly impressed with a couple of it, you know, I'll kind of walk through some of those issues as to why I think that they had those problems, and kind of tell you why, you know, maybe you shouldn't be having those problems. So first and foremost, as you can kind of see here, Custom Knife Factory, nice little etching on the titanium there. It's got a nice little cutout here around the hardware of a real nice shiny color. Hopefully I can get the light to pick up that. I don't know if that's Zerk or something, but looks cool. It's on both sides as well, so you get that nice little finish, which I think looks awesome. Now, in terms of size, guys, okay, I like to show a bunch of different knives and kind of talk about how it compares in hands. You know, I'm a 6'3" guy. My hands fairly big, I guess. I'm like an XL glove. So, you know, first of all, this is over a 4-inch blade. So, you know what, just to kind of show you comparison, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Trevor Burger Urban. So, super common knife, all over the place, super readily available. Let's do a quick comparison of that for size, because I like red and tie. That is it. Okay? That is all you're getting with an Urban. That's not a super small knife. It's not big either. But that should give you a scale as to how big this guy is, okay? So, let's fire this guy out here and take a look a little closer. So we've got about a 4-inch blade on this, 4 1/4 maybe. I can't recall. I'll get the tape measure here shortly. But compared to the little Urban, look at this. Isn't that nuts? Like the whole knife of this is almost the handle of the Eagle. So that's wild. You know, not a fair comparison in any way, but I just thought, you know, because it's the red handle and things of that nature, I just thought it'd be a nice little comparable. Okay, so before we get into this, let's kind of rank it. You know, the common ones. We'll do a bug out for size reference. So a lot bigger than a bug out, PM2. Just because, you know, you guys know the size of these knives, so quite a bit bigger than that. I'd probably, for size, maybe compare it with an Ergonomics. So quite a bit more comparable, I'd say, than the other ones. And the Ergonomics is a big knife. You guys know that. So that should give you an idea of the size. 4 1/4 inch blade, I believe. Like I said, we'll measure that versus, I think this guy's a 4-inch blade. So that should give you a good comparison there. So anyway, guys, let's take a look at the size here. Let's move that up. So, big boy. I thought it was close to 10, yeah. So hopefully the tape measure can kind of pick this up. We are almost 4 3/8 on the blade. Sharpened, it's well over 4 1/4. So 4 3/8, I'd say, overall. And damn near 10. Hopefully that can show it. I know the camera angle always messes with this, and that drives me nuts watching people's videos on this stuff, because it actually does make a big difference. Because like looking at this right now, the tape measure will look like it's further to the left than the blade, because I'm shooting overhead, and it's actually bang on. So anyway, yeah, you're under 10, but not by much on that. In terms of you know, like I said, actual comparables, I will say, let's do a quick lineup here. Let's do a quick lineup, you know. So the Ergonomics is the first thing that I would say is like actually in the same category, I would say. The XM XM24. The Hinder is probably in that same category in the big knife conversation. From there, I'll be honest, I don't have a ton of knives in this ridiculously big size. The Hinder has always been the one that has been like, that's a big knife, that's a forged blade, that's a big guy. So let's not really go too far down this road with the Adamas. In this same kind of beefed up, cool factor conversation, the Evo, I'd probably I'd put that in there for sure. I'd probably put the Harsey, which is actually blade-wise very similar, a little smaller. And remember, the Harsey's got a very thin blade as well. I've done a video on this knife, but Harsey, it's Harsey-esque. Probably this guy as well, the J-Cape. Another super popular knife that people seem to really dig. So yeah, I'd probably put the J-Cape in that conversation as well. So nice big beefy blade. And then probably, if we're looking at the J-Cape, then it would make sense to be looking at the Rendancion 229 full size, as well as, yeah, let's throw a sheer Goroff in there, just as another comparable for size. More sleek, obviously, but definitely similar in length. A little shorter, but similar. So that should kind of give you a pretty good rounded look, I'd say, as to the kind of knives I'd compare it with. If we're kind of chiseling the list down, I'd probably, well, that would probably go. I'd probably include the Harsey, the Shiro. That'd probably be the list. It's not really XM24-y, but very similar to these kinds of knives, I'd say, which is cool, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's definitely not in the price point of the Shiro. Definitely not in the price point of the Chavez. So, you know, there's your solid comparable in terms of same branding, but I'd put it kind of like a Harsey, a mix of a Harsey and a CKF. It's in that conversation. So hopefully those knives are kind of showing you that it's nothing crazy. And then obviously you just throw the bug out in there, you know, little old bug out, just kind of making its way down south, minding its business. Anyway, so that's kind of what I compare it to off the hop. But let's get into the knife itself. So we've got a big beast. I watched a couple videos on this before I started talking aimlessly about the knife itself. And, you know, I would say it's kind of been mixed. Some people really love it. Some people have some concerns with it. And let's be honest. A blade of this level, or I should say of this price point, people are going to have problems because they expect it to be perfect. They expect as close to perfection as you can kind of get without actually being perfect. And that's reasonable, because I want to say this guy's $600 blade in that conversation, US. So it is not cheap. It's limited edition. They are numbered, and you can see on the blade here, if the light wants to cooperate, the camera, everything wants to cooperate. I've got number 211. It's on the top there. They are numbered, which is cool. And so that will certainly factor into the cost. And this isn't a video trying to justify the cost of certain knives. Look, this isn't a bug out. This isn't a paramilitary. Excuse me. These are highly sought after knives in very specific demand. So it kind of is what it is. Now, if we go down the road of designers, okay. For example, I know that this particular knife, the designer, obviously it's hideously written on that clip, which I think is a little loud, but you know, it is kind of what it is. No need to complain. You know, he made his own knife line. And you know, this in his line is probably $2,000. And so what he does is he registers the design with CKF, Custom Knife Factory, and they pump out several hundred of them. And, you know, people get their chance to own one for a third of the price. So, you know, if you're going to complain, but just, you know, remember, big picture here. They're not cheap to begin with, and if you want the original, you're going to have to pay. So, where are we going with this? Well, let's get into some stats, like I said. So, tie handle, we've got a carbon overlay, which looks really sharp. Someone said, I believe, they're like, oh, it looks cheap. You know, it's customizable. It does not look cheap. It does not feel cheap. It feels fantastic. It fits in nicely. It's not loose. It's not rocking. Nothing like that. We've got a nice big back spacer here. Nice full titanium, which looks awesome and, you know, adds to the weight of the knife for sure. Big pocket clip. Pretty simple. Nice little opening on there. I don't know, you know, if they should have done that a little differently. It's, you know, it's their design. They can do what they want, but it's pretty simple, pretty loud on that. So carbon covered titanium. It's obviously not a folder, or sorry, not a folder. It's obviously not a frame lock. It's this little guy hidden inside there. Really solid, you know, and on something like this, I don't know if you'd want a frame lock that would be, you know, just think about that, how much you'd be bending at that point. And maybe this is why they don't do that. You know, 4.5 inches of material. I don't know if you'd want to be sliding the entire frame over. A la, you know, for reference, you know, if we're looking at like a Harsey frame lock, obviously you're pushing that metal over from the left to right here. It's just, it's flexible, right? So the longer you make that material, the easier it's gonna bend around, which is what it is. Like that's cool, you know, if that's what you're into and that's what you're after. I believe this guy's S90V on the blade. Should probably say, yeah, S90V, right up top there. Now they did a very limited number of these in, I believe they were S110V. For some reason I'm thinking like 20 of them, maybe 10. Very, very limited numbers. They're going to be harder to get on the secondary and may command a higher price, but let's be honest, an S90V this is very, it's a solid metal. You know, will they go to MagnaCut? I don't know. Maybe at future iterations of it, but for now, this is certainly good. This little guy on the top here for flicking it open. There are some concerns around that. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people think it looks ridiculous. I don't mind it. I think it's very fitting for the style of knife and the era of design. I think it looks cool. It sounds great when you flick it open. Obviously, it's got the flipper tab on top too. Hopefully the mic can pick up some sounds on that. Sounds great, right? So either is very comfortable. Now, the concerns that I've heard from people on this, okay? Sorry. You know what? I need to get my S together here. Okay, so we got a nice drop point, custom kind of cool carve into the blade here, grind into the blade, which looks awesome. A nice fuller. It's just cool. It's just a cool design on a knife with that thumb stud. You know, what would bug me about this is if I was slicing and you're essentially losing about 1 centimeter of blade there because you're going to hit into that. I don't know the reason for that, but you can remove that with a little Torx. Looks like a T10 up top. If that's a concern, take it off and then it won't be a concern. Personally, because it's so big, I've actually been using the flipper, which fits in very nicely. And it's just smooth, man. And that works just fine for me. I don't see myself thumb flicking this very often, but if you do, you can. It's there. I prefer just to. I'm in a bit of a flipper trend right now, so I'll go with that route. So here's what the kind of concern that I've heard on these guys. So because the blade is so long, there's a few of these that came out of the box with some concerns. So when it's put away here, okay, and hopefully I can show this with the camera, you can see how the tolerances in here are so tight on that blade. Is it going to zoom in? Do I have any left? Yeah. You can see dead center, looks great. There's no concerns from me here. It's a well-made knife. It's a CKF, okay? You're not going to be worried that you're not getting what you're paying for here. It's a beautiful blade, okay? Now, the concern here is this. You ready? And what I'll do is I'll bring a mic in here. It's going to be in the picture. I apologize. I'm just going to put this right beside here so you can kind of see. So the blade, when it's in between the, when it's folded down, there's a slight knock, okay? So hopefully I can show you this. It's very difficult. Hear that? Like you literally have to try to make that. There. I can see the audio level, so it did pick that up, which is good. Very slight play on that blade, which you're like, oh my God, what's going on with that? Why is there play on my brand new knife? That's unacceptable. The pivot must be loose. This must be poorly made. This is junk. No, that's not the case. I think what it is the blade is ridiculously long, and it's actually just, you know, you're at a flex point here of, from the pivot to the end of the blade, you're at 5 inches. So what does that mean? Well, it has, with such tight tolerances and such a thick blade, it literally is flexing. And I have to go out of my way to make it flex to the point where it touches the sides. No, I saw in a video, oh, is this going to be a problem when you thumb flick it open? Is it going to flex? No, you're not thumb flicking this from the tip of the blade down here. You're thumb flicking it up by the pivot. And no, there's no metal, nothing. There's no sound of any kind. It's not rubbing on the sides. It's not anything like that. It is a big knife. And if you are so concerned about the flex on this, you know what? You probably could crank the absolute crap down on that pivot and have that go away. Maybe. I would much rather worry about this super smooth flick, you know, the workmanship. There's no problems with this, man. I don't know where the guys, you know, they have big channels and all this stuff. They can say what they want, and I'm not going to get mad. But, you know, I just think that some perspective on things here in that it is not rubbing the side of the blade. It is literally just going out of my way to find... Like I can't even do it unless I'm trying, you know. The frame lock's obviously pushing on the side of the detent. So it is what it is. It is what it is, okay? No, it's not going to be concerned, but for someone who's spending, you know, $600 on this, yeah, it might strike you as unusual that there's a little knock. It's not a big deal, guys, okay? We're being so nitpicky with this stuff because we can. So other than that, and we're talking 95% of the knife is absolute money. No problems. But it's the 5% people want to focus on, including me. Here I am blabbing on about it for like 3 minutes over nothing. So anyway, that is what it is, okay? I'll stop talking about it. Everywhere else, okay, the blade, absolutely zero play in this guy, okay? None whatsoever. It's not making a peep, okay? So I don't know why that would be such a big concern, but there's none. No play. No, absolutely nothing. This thing's solid, man. Like nothing. Even when it's in between, no play. And then when it's down, you have to try real hard to get that thing to knock. And it's just because, look, you've got this guy flexed down, super tight, obviously. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. But the tolerance is just so tight, so flippin' tight on here that. You know what? Not everything's perfect. But I'm telling you, this is damn near. and I wouldn't let this bother you, honestly. So if you're interested in the knife, don't let that bug you. So ergo-wise, absolutely great. You could absolutely wear this with a glove. That would fit beautifully. I've got big hands. Look, I've got 4 fingers on it, and I could probably have 6 comfortably on there. Really nice. You got the jimping, which is actually quite, that's some strong, thick jimping on there. Beautiful. You can get right up on there. Another thing I dig, here's another thing on the ergo side I should probably get into. Look at where that flipper tab is, right? It's right on the tip, and look at where it goes, right? So you can hammer it out, okay? It goes all the way down, and look at that. It hides in the frame there. Isn't that cool? That's the flipper tab right there. And usually you've got this big little nub that sticks out in design. I think that's so cool. Tab, she gone, just like that. That's awesome, man. I love that. I love seeing that kind of stuff, just in design. It's brilliant. So you got nice little jimping on top. The top of the blade as well is nice and flat, up to a point. You're not going to be moving past there, I hope, to do any cuts. But if you can, you know, it's flat on top. You know, if anyone in the comments wants to tell me what the point of this little UFO disc saucer plate on top is, other than if you want to flick it out with it, you know, I would love to know. And if the design is to keep it thin, tucked in, and removable, then you don't need to tell me. But that's what I would assume it's kind of for. You know, on the handle, you've got a lanyard hole if you want to put something in there, if you're into that. You know, it's not going to fill up with dirt, dust, debris. It's nice and sealed off on the back. I've already talked about the pocket clip, how it's super loud. Not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. Design-wise, it's solid, man. It feels like it's on bearings. I don't know how it wouldn't be, because it's just so smooth. Action is, look at this, super smooth. So it's hard to show on camera, especially on such a big knife, but so if you give a little push, it's real smooth. I'll zoom out a little bit. Maybe that'll help things. Super smooth. Well-built knife. There's no concerns here for me. People are going to get a great knife if they want to, and you know, you compare it with the workmanship and build quality of the Evo that I have here, which is murdered out black, and it's the same. Like it feels the same. Nice solid tie, smooth as a glove. And I figure what it'll do is it'll probably work into that at some point. Obviously 2 different designs, but real nice. I'll have to do a video on this one soon. I just picked that one up not too long ago. So what else do I got on this guy? So obviously super smooth. I talked about the size of it. I talked about the jimping. I talked about the flipper tab and how it is nicely tucked away. I think that looks awesome. Once again, I did mention the cool little hiding in plain sight flavor bar on the hardware, the flavorizer, which I think just looks so cool. You know, you don't notice it up front, and this is why I actually wanted to go with the red, is because it matches this, so it kind of hides in plain sight, but just looks real good. They also offer this in like a black on black, which I don't know. I like tie being tie, and then just like a cool red handle looks awesome. I've seen a disassembly video of this as well, and it was pretty simple. You know, you pull this guy comes off, both tabs, top and bottom, come off, and it's not bad to take apart. And then what else? Let's see. Let me just put this in my hand one more time and take my eyes off it. So hot spot on the clip right here, a little bit. There's no I'm just trying to think here. I don't see or feel any real sharp spots. Let's see the blade and the handle. I can't get in there. Yeah, it's solid, man. I dig, actually, one of the things I love about the design here is when you have it in your hand, you definitely feel this cutout on the, oh yeah, you feel that big time. And then on the lock bar here, hopefully you can see that, how it sticks out above. this side of the frame so that you know, when you are pushing it in and unlocking it or locking it, it's just easy. Super easy. So there you go. That is the Eagle Rock knife. Any questions, guys? You know, like I said, I always do these as a let's chat, let's talk about it. I'm not scripted. I'm not paid anything to do these. This is just a hobby. And I think it's so cool. Love the knife. Think it looks amazing. And I think if you guys are interested in one, you're not going to be disappointed. Other than that little lock rock, no, not lock rock, I shouldn't say that word. Other than this, which is very difficult to show, it's so minimal that you're not going to have any issues. So that's it, fellas and fellas and females. Thanks for checking out the CKF Eagle Rock. And any questions, leave them below. And until next time, we'll catch you later. All right, cheers, guys.